What's up, guys? My name is Zach Black. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Weekly Wellness Wednesday. This week I wanted to ask you guys a question, and that is, do you really want to become spiritual, or are you really just into magic? Now, the reason I ask this question is because I don't feel like it's really asked enough. We have plenty of people out there who are calling themselves spiritual and who, talk about the cool stuff that you experience in this spiritual experience here, but there's also a lot of other stuff that comes along with it that a lot of people deal with that they don't really talk about. So today I want to kind of mention that. So in the past, we've mentioned a lot of, ups and downs in spirituality. And by the way, the reason I asked this question is mainly just to help you guys decide if this is something that you really want to get into or not, because like I said, there's a lot of other things that come along with it that aren't all fantastic, that you're going to deal with, that aren't fun, and that are, potentially going to be a really rough experience. So, and that's why I'm bringing us on to the ups and downs, and specifically more so the downs. When you're spiritual, you experience a lot more of this up and down kind of thing going on, especially because you're more hypersensitive to energy and things of that nature when you're just experiencing your day-to-day life, and this can make your entire experience a lot more shitty in a lot of cases. We all deal with stupid crap, whether you're spiritual or not, throughout our life, that causes our experience to be seemingly terrible or seemingly good. But on the spiritual journey, it definitely seems to be more ramped up and constantly just all over the place, because you're really getting into cleansing yourself and your emotional body and things of that nature. Your soul itself is getting rid of its own baggage, and in this spiritual journey, that's what's going on. So you're dealing with this physical reality plus your soul aspect, like your things that bug you in your soul are coming up and out. And a lot of times you become a lot less drowned in distractions and things like that to occupy your time. And typically before you're spiritual, it's very you're just kind of going through life. You constantly have all these different distractions, and you don't really realize how much baggage you have at the moment because you're just so distracted with other stuff. And when you get spiritual, you start to see all of it, and that's when it kind of starts to suck. And not only that, but you also see everything else that's going on in the world, all that super fucked up stuff. And again, you can't unsee these things. Like, once you see it, it's been seen, and there's no going back from there. And same thing with things you hear, and the worst part is when you really realize that all that stuff is true, then it's just like, damn, and becoming spiritual, you're going to see these things. It opens up a whole new level of awareness to everything that's going on, and that can be too much for a lot of people. So, are you really wanting to become spiritual and to be dealing with all of that? And a lot of people, they get into spirituality because they hear about the cool stuff like astral projection or whatever, or they want to do magical stuff with, like telekinesis or something like that. And that's all fine and dandy, but that's really not the point of spirituality in the slightest, to be honest. I guess everybody's got their own point, and I'm just sharing my own perspective. I'm not trying to tell you what's right or wrong here. But to me, what seems to be the main point of spirituality is becoming more invested in healing yourself and cleansing your soul, and helping yourself to fully enjoy your experience and live out your life, doing what's your purpose to be here, why you even came to the planet. So it's definitely, it can be a rough experience though, because a lot of that cleansing period, it's just like any other kind of cleanse. If you've ever done a detox, you've ever fasted or something, a lot of times it's a really shitty experience during the whole time. And I can say, these past couple weeks right now, I mentioned in the last week's Weekly Wellness that I was confused like why I was recording so many videos. I recorded like 2 weeks of videos, and we had weekly wellness all good to go for a while, and it's been about 2 weeks since since I recorded something for weekly wellness or for the channel at all. And during these 2 weeks, it's actually been a pretty rough experience, to be honest. It's been probably worse during these 2 weeks than it has been in most anything I've dealt with so far. As far as, mentalities go, I mean, I really went into a bit of a dark place there. And I mean, obviously, it's just a part of it, and I'm fine. But it is what it is. These are the things I'm talking about. Is it gets really rough during your spiritual journey, and this is exactly what sometimes it's just like a random bout of like these just really negative emotions, and you could have all kinds of crappy stuff going through your mind that can just be a lot for you to deal with. And I would say that's most of the spiritual journey, especially at first. That's most of what it is. But to be honest, I've heard these words multiple times before. Anything that's worth doing is going to get worse before it gets better, and that seems to be pretty much accurate with everything I've experienced in my life. So I'm going to say that that's a pretty true statement. And that's the same with spirituality. It gets worse. You're going to deal with a lot of things that you fear, especially if you're getting into the more mystical stuff like astral projection and whatnot. You're going to deal with some freaky deek shit, and you're not going to be able to unsee any of that, okay? So, again, it's like some people, they just don't have the mental strength to deal with something like that, okay? So, say you're trying to astral project. If you get stuck in sleep paralysis, which is very common, especially if you're scared, it's going to happen, so just be ready. I mean, I'm not trying to instill fear into you. I'm just trying to help you realize that you need to move past that fear if you want to do this. If you're somebody who's trying to astral project, you have to move past that fear, or it's not going to happen. And even if you did get it to happen while you were scared, you're just going to get scared when you get there, because your thoughts manifest instantly in the astrals. So anything you think, it's going to be there, most likely. Especially if you're just going into it scared the whole time. I would be absolutely amazed if you got there and you didn't deal with something freaky, when that's all that's on your mind, because you're just attracting that same kind of energy. So you got to be really aware, and that, again, it's a big ball of everything, man, and you're going to move past a lot of fear in a lot of different areas of your life as you move along, especially that astral projection. And as I said, like, after you get into that, it's a life-changing experience, honestly. When you have your first astral projection experience and you move past the fear of doing it, it gets rid of a lot of fears. You'll no longer be like scared of death, and all these kinds of things. It really changes your perspective a lot, and it's life-changing. So it's pretty incredible. Anyway, if you're going into spirituality for just all the mystical stuff, I can promise you that it's going to be a lot more than that. It's going to lead to a lot more than that. So be ready for it, because it really does come with a lot of other baggage, a lot of everything that you have inside that you haven't dealt with in your life. You're going to deal with it on your spiritual journey. It's going to come up, and you're going to have to deal with it, and it's going to be terrible. But you're going to get through it, and it's going to be fine. It's just not going to be a fun experience in the middle of it. And in most cases, the best way to deal with it is to just, honestly, just tough it out, man. Like, just be ready for it. Accept what's coming. Don't sit there and, like, try to fight it and just, try to put it in the back of your mind all the time. Just let it come up, deal with it, and just keep persevering, because after it's dealt with, it's gone, and then you can continue on with, what else you're going to do. And you'll feel lighter each time too. I mean, it's a rough time in those experiences, but at the same time, it's well worth it. So I'm not trying to just deter everybody away from being spiritual. If anything, I think it's way more worth it, because a lot of people go through their whole life never dealing with stuff that's bothered them their whole life, and they have all these random sort of problems and they don't know where they're coming from, and it's because of all this stuff that they have just building up inside them, and they're just not dealing with it. And once you do, it makes a massive difference. You'll feel totally different in your life. So I recommend that you guys do hop on the spiritual journey. I'm just trying to help you guys make the decision so you know what's coming, because people don't really tell you at all. But it's most definitely going to be a pretty rough experience in most cases. I'm not saying that's with everybody, but in most cases, you're probably going to have a pretty rough time, like most of us do on the spiritual journey. I mean, the great thing is, though, you'll meet people also, because when you get really into it, you'll start attracting other people that are into it, and it'll be a bit easier with other people around too. But a lot of it you got to deal with on your own, and a lot of it you probably not even want to talk to somebody else about to begin with. So it is what it is. Anyway, guys, I hope this helps. Don't get into spirituality if you don't want to deal with your own problems, because you're going to have to. It's just a part of it. And if you don't, and you think it's all happy and glittery, then, honestly, you're probably not really that into spirituality. That's probably just a bunch of bullshit. Because anybody who's really on this path, they end up dealing with their problems as they go. That's, it's part of growing. It's part of what's going to make you into a better person, and it's good. It's something that's going to benefit your life. I've mentioned my perspective on things where, it's something either brings me joy or it's a learning experience. I don't really think anything's bad, and that's, still that applies to this too. Even these past weeks have been super shitty for me. I've been doing all kinds of stuff and having all kinds of just thoughts going through my mind that just absolutely suck. But it is what it is, man. It's a big learning experience, and I feel like I'm growing from it, and it's moving along. But I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it just gets to the point where, it feels pointless. I think that's something that we all deal with in our spiritual journeys, is that feeling of pointlessness. Even when you after you astral project and you you feel like there's no death now. You're positive of it. And I mean, you'd kind of have to have an astral projection experience to know exactly why that is. I mean, a billion people could tell you, oh my god, there's no such thing as death. But until you experience it yourself, you're probably still going to have those questions. But I kind of lost my train of thought there. My bad. But the point is, guys, don't get into this for just the magical voodoo crap, because that's only just a small piece of it. There's so much more to it. Anyway, hopefully you guys know what I meant when I lost my train of thought there. I forgot where I was going with it. My bad. But yeah, we got the basic point of the video across anyway. I think I was kind of rambling about something else anyway, so that's it anyway, guys. I hope this helps you make a decision on whether you should be, going into spiritual stuff or anything, or getting into astral projection, because like I said, it's got a lot more attached to it than most people realize. But yeah, be ready for it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not telling you, what you should or shouldn't be doing. I'm just saying, what's coming to you is going to probably be unpleasant. And I mean, I personally have been on this journey for a while. I'm not getting off the journey anytime soon. I don't ever plan to. So, I'm just warning you guys that it's a lot to deal with a lot of times. So, just be aware of what you're going to be dealing with. That's it. It's rough. Anyway, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you want to see more of my videos, you can click that subscribe button. If you want to be notified of them, you can click the bell button right next to the subscribe button, which will tell you whenever I upload a video or live stream or anything like that. And more importantly, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day or night, and much love to you.